Well, today is Friday, June 26th, 2026. I'm Brittany Noble, and here's what's coming up today on The Breakdown. A major Supreme Court ruling could change the lives of more than 1 million immigrants. Why the Trump administration now has broader authority to end temporary protected status for people from multiple countries. And we're exposing the realities of childhood sexual abuse and human trafficking, and highlighting the work that one Indianapolis organization is doing to protect children and support survivors. Plus, it's never too late to reset your career. Why the middle of the year could be your biggest opportunity to earn more, stand out, and get ahead. That's coming up in our For the Culture segment. The Breakdown starts right now. Breakdown of the headlines and the stories that you need to know about from across Black America. The Supreme Court ruled Thursday that the Trump administration can cancel the temporary protected status for thousands of Haitians and Syrians. The decision concludes the Department of Homeland Security has broad discretion with little to no judicial oversight to decide when they must return home. The ruling is likely to have a sweeping impact on the approximately 1.3 million people who rely on TPS to live and work here in the United States legally. Advocates say they fear it will have devastating and possibly deadly long-term costs for those refugees. Though the ruling centered on the TPS of Haitians and Syrians, the ruling effectively gives the Trump administration the green light to carry out similar terminations, which they've already done for 13 other countries. An Arizona police officer is headed to trial on 2 counts of aggravated assault. The indictment comes after an internal investigation concluded that she had engaged in excessive and unnecessary force against people who were handcuffed or in custody. Carrie Carico, who resigned from the Buckeye Police Department earlier this month, was indicted by a grand jury for 2 counts of aggravated assault connected to 2 separate incidents. Earlier this week, she pleaded not guilty. In the first incident, November 1st, 2025, she arrested a pregnant Black woman for reckless driving after a traffic stop. Video from inside the booking facility allegedly shows her pushing the woman against the wall and dragging her back to the bench. The footage also shows that she swung her arm toward the woman's head, appearing to strike her. 3 months later, in January of 2026, she was also involved in another use of force incident after surveillance video captured her punching a handcuffed man in the head. Her trial is set for November. A Georgia woman was wrongfully declared dead while recovering from congestive heart failure by the Social Security Administration. Adrienne Wells Chapman was still recovering in the hospital when she discovered that the Social Security Administration had listed her as having died in September of 2025. And now that government mistake has upended her life. She lost access to her bank account, Medicaid coverage, and food assistance benefits. And without Medicaid coverage, Wells Chapman began receiving large medical bills, including one bill from Emory totaling $48,000, while another from Piedmont reached $52,000. The Social Security Administration says they are reviewing the situation. Former Social Security Commissioner Martin O'Malley says staffing reductions are contributing to processing delays and clerical mistakes affecting recipients. A GoFundMe campaign for Wells Chapman has raised about $1,500 so far. Some medical marijuana patients in Alabama are now being required to take monthly pregnancy tests, the only state in the country with such a law. The new state policy applies for women between the ages of 11 and 50. Patients who refuse the test can lose access to their marijuana prescriptions. Women who test positive risk criminal charges under Alabama's chemical endangerment law passed, which bans drug use during pregnancy. The law also bans doctors from recommending medical marijuana to pregnant patients. The state is also demanding that doctors who recommend medical marijuana to pregnant patients be banned. The Texas State Board of Education is set to vote on a proposal to make sections of the Bible required reading material for public school students from kindergarten through high school. The move has reignited fierce debate over widening effort to introduce religion into public school programs. The Texas mandate could take effect in the 2030-2031 school year. It would have students required to read Bible passages, including Noah's Ark, David and Goliath, Daniel and the Lion's Den, passages from the New Testament about Jesus, the parable of the prodigal son, portions of the book of Job, and the story of Adam and Eve. Now, critics, including Jewish and Muslim leaders, argue that the mandate violates the constitutional separation of church and state. The readings rely heavily on the King James Bible and other Protestant Christian translations, with only one passage from the Jewish Bible. If the measure is passed, it will affect about 5.5 million students. We also want to tell you about an organization that is aiming to bring people together to reimagine and build a future centered on justice, belonging, dignity, democracy, and interdependence. Roland spoke with the Next250 organizers, Tiffany Lofton and Carmen Perez-Jordan, to discuss what to expect at this weekend's rally in Washington, D.C. to celebrate America's anniversary.
Next250 has launched a nationwide multi-year initiative aiming to use this anniversary to bring people together around shared values and critical issues. The goal is to imagine and build a future centered on justice, belonging, dignity, democracy, and independence. On Saturday, Next250 will host All of Us 250, a nationwide day of action focused on truth, equality, and freedom. It will include rallies and protests across the nation, culminating in a gathering in Washington, D.C. Joining us right now is Tiffany Lofton and Carmen Perez-Jordan, both of them with Next250. Carmen, you were one of the co-chairs of the Women's March, that massive gathering where, most importantly, like I always keep talking about, data. And so y'all are gathering, y'all are meeting, but how are you taking this event beyond that day and where it is an organization and a mobilization tool?
Well, thank you so much, Roland, for having me. It's always like coming home when I come and I talk to you about the work that we're doing, and I just want to say thank you for always welcoming us. For me, I want to just share that this work has started 3 years ago. So what we're doing June 27th is we're doing a celebration of all the work that has happened the last 3 years. For the last 3 years, we have convened over 100 organizations in 36 states and did listening sessions where we gathered the information, and that is culminated into a Declaration of Interdependence. We then did a launch here in September of last year where we revealed the Declaration of Interdependence and then began having town halls to bring the Declaration of Interdependence to life in our communities. And now we're culminating here in Washington, D.C. on Saturday, and it's going to be a celebration of our shared history, but also putting forth a bold vision for the future. What does the next 250 years look like for our communities? And so we've gone from Puerto Rico to Hawaii, who are all coming to Washington, D.C. We have some folks right now here that have joined us, and we're going to have amazing speakers. We're going to have performances. We're going to have face painting for the kids. It's a family-friendly event, but this is really about building political power through our values.
Tiffany, so D.C. is central, but how many other events will be taking place across the country for the folks who can't travel here?
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of things. One, folks can tune in virtually, so they'll be able to join us there. And then we have a bunch of actions on our website. You can also sign up to keep in contact with the movement and the cause. And as Carmen said, not only is it a family-friendly event, but there are going to be dozens of other organizations that are going to be at the actual rally who are registering people to vote. They're going to be sharing their demands. We have 7 pillars where we're talking about fair wages, education for all, dignity and respect to protest, women's reproductive choice and health care, all of the things that our communities have said out loud through this listening session that they care about. And through this tabling, folks will be able to sign up to join organizational causes, sign up for campaigns, sign up as volunteers, and figure out ways to plug in. Roland, on this show, you talk so often about people finding political homes. And our opportunity, as Carmen said, to bring this together to talk about the next 250 years, we know that part of our organizing strategy and methodology is that people have to not just gather and have a good time this Saturday, but after the event is over, stay plugged into those organizations.
Right, and that's the thing that drives me crazy when these events take place.
They don't do nothing afterwards.
They piss me off.
Yeah. Wait, real quick. I know you're going to ask me later, but I'm going to do it now since people listen in case they hang up. They can sign up and join our listserv right now at Next250.us. And then at the event, we have QR codes. There's going to be a sign, a stage, and people can sign in and register there. We have, I don't know how many buses come in. I don't want to make it up.
I know. We have probably like around 17 buses that are coming from the East Coast, anywhere from Baltimore, a couple from New York.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, Jersey.
Maryland, Virginia. Yeah, we got a bunch of buses coming. And all those folks have also given us their information and contact information and signed up for the bus as well to join us on that day and traveling in on Saturday.
The reason...
and rain or shine, we doing this, by the way.
The reason I keep... I'm fixated on that, and again, Bishop Barber and I, we're always talking about it, is because...
in the group chat, I know.
For me, everything is micro, macro.
Yeah.
It's micro, macro. So if 50,000, 100,000 people come to Washington, D.C., but then you know where they're coming from. You have their zip codes. Now, all of a sudden, the issues that are being addressed, the issues that are being talked about, so when something happens in that state or something happens in that county, in that city, then you already have the data to be able to say, oh, we've got 300 people from that county or from that city who participated. So we can now hit those folks direct, tell them what's happening in their county or city, and say, tie into this particular group because we need you showing up at the city council meeting or the school board meeting or the county commissioners meeting. If you don't have that data, what you're doing is you're now trying to replicate what you did, and you hope folks show up, and then you go there, well, I hope we have 30 or 40 people. And that to me is just one of the biggest mistakes that I keep seeing when we're asked to cover these events. And I'm kind of like, all right, we covered it, but what the hell did you do with it? Okay, you had a day of speeches. Great. People, each person limited to 3 minutes or whatever. Okay, I'm always like, what's next? What are you doing with the next? What happens on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Has that been really a large part of the planning and the thinking to really understand that?
It has been, and like I mentioned, we started 3 years ago. This was a vision that Linda and Saru had. They were thinking about what are we going to be doing in the 250th anniversary, and is it going to be represented of us? And so we decided.
And we already see it's not.
We already know it's not. But what we did is we convened about 50 organizations. And after we convened the 50 organizations, we set on these listening sessions where we then began to extract these values. And from these values came this Declaration of Interdependence. And then we're like, yo, we're going to have our own celebration, mobilization, but we also need to get to work. And what we're hoping is that this declaration can be something that communities and individuals use locally to hold their elected officials accountable, or to also organize their elected officials towards values that they believe in.
Well, coming up next on The Breakdown, unhealed childhood pain doesn't stay in childhood. After the break, a powerful conversation about healing emotional wounds. And for more news headlines and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day, please visit the Black Star Network. We want to be your source for stories that matter to our community. We'll be right back.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power That's a time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
I'm Risa Colbert, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
Welcome back to the breakdown. Well, many people carry childhood wounds into adulthood without realizing just how deeply those experiences affect their relationships. But today we're discussing the healing journey and the importance of addressing emotional pain before it shapes the rest of our lives. Dash Hudson is the author of When the Little Boy is Healed, the Man Will Show Up. All right, Dash, so tell us what inspired you to write this book.
So when a little boy is healed, the man will show up. Was my opportunity to breathe, was my opportunity to speak up for Junior. Junior, you know, that's what everyone in my household called me when I was younger. When I say household, you know, I communicate it like this: your house will have a hold on you for the rest of your life. So as a man and a father, I was showing up, and the pain was the feedback from my household. Growing up, I wasn't allowed to be vulnerable. I wasn't allowed to speak up for myself. There was no safety. So I was a reflection of the pain that I was going through. So I did not know how to say the words and translate the words. That was the cold, numb, dismissive man, you know, and a little boy was crying out for help inside of me, but I didn't have the words. I didn't have the patience. I didn't have the discipline for myself to communicate what I was going through. So this book is the opportunity, along with my journey of healing, growing, and learning, and finally learning how to translate the words from my pain. I always say life is a language and conversations control your destiny. So sometimes we see people, but we only see them for their behavior, how they're showing up in the moment, but we have no idea, you know, what they've been through and what their experience is. So this was the opportunity for me to speak up for young men and men going through similar situations that I've been through as a little boy.
And tell us a little bit more about what men would get if they picked up your book.
Insight, perspective, clarity, peace of mind, direction, guidance, confidence, understanding. Also, it gives you the ability to finally be able to speak up. I always say, if you have never been 100% completely honest out loud, then you have never been yourself in the presence of anyone. I'll repeat that, right? If you have never been 100% completely honest out loud, then you have never been yourself in the presence of anyone. Sometimes we show up and we're the character, we're our job, we're our position, we're the father, and we're never having open, honest conversations when it comes to what created, you know, who we are in the moment. Even when it comes to romantic relationships, you may be in a relationship with a man and you may perceive him to be numb, cold, dismissive. But if you ever had the opportunity to see him behind his pain. So for many men, I wrote this with that perspective, and I wrote this in mind, like, what words would I have needed? You know, what words would Junior have needed to be free? So this book will give you clarity and freedom.
Go into detail a little bit more about how these childhood experiences truly shape the men that we see today.
So I'll give you this perspective. when we think about love and we enter relationships and you experience pain and heartbreak from someone and you say, I thought you loved me. Why would you treat me that way? So I want to give you guys insight on the first time I heard love consistently. Every time my mother was beating me, she would tell me that she loved me. So the first time I heard love consistently, that was programmed into me with pain. I think of life when love is expected of me, when I only know love is pain. So, you know, what I've been through, I would say, you know, a boy with a low self-esteem grows to be a man with no self-esteem. So that communication and that perspective of love, you know, sometimes as parents, we parent the way that we were parented. So it's not that my mother was this cold, malicious person. She was only doing to me what was done to her, but that created the pain and the agony that I've been through. And so most men, you know, we show up, the world will look and say it's a man's responsibility to do this and to do that. But as men, we can only respond from our ability. I didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to tap into my own emotions and vulnerability. So it's a lot of men that's stuck in a childhood version of themselves, and they can't show up and they can't perform, not because they don't want to, but simply because they don't know how.
And Dash, how does that affect their mental health, suppressing emotions like that?
I would say it's a reason that a teapot has a hole. You know, if you remove the hole, the teapot explodes. So it's a lot of men that they're just repeating a conversation and a communication that was told to them when I was young. Crying is acting like a little girl. You're being soft. You're being a punk. So that became my mindset. That became my perspective. I always say, you know, technology mimics human behavior. So the same way you have a digital algorithm, you have a mental and emotional algorithm. The algorithm of my childhood, also neurological pathways, your brain wires itself to your environment, your conditions, your everyday habits. So my mother telling me that crying is acting like a little girl, stop being soft, stop being a punk. Every moment of my life that required me to feel, I couldn't feel anything. I didn't connect to the world. I didn't connect to myself. So it's so many men trapped in that version of themselves. And not only are they showing up like that for the world, they're showing up like that to their children. So you have a father that's repeating the same cycle. So this is why young men are not connecting. This is why we can't connect to ourselves. This is why we're not showing up in relationships. And this is breaking households. This is breaking communities. And this is breaking families.
Tell us, what are some of the signs that a man may still be carrying unresolved childhood wounds? All right, so I'll translate. You know, even with you asking me that question and I had to reflect to answer it, I got triggered. So that a delay, a trigger delay, whenever you want him to open up and he automatically shuts down. Sometimes you may see anger, fear. It's something that I call turtle shell syndrome, right? A turtle is soft, the shell is hard. Whenever the turtle is afraid, it tucks its head in the shell. So for many men, you may see anger, you may see aggression, you may see a disconnect, you may see him isolate, but that is his shell, that anger, that disconnect, that's where he is running for safety. So those are all the things that you want to look for. And to truly identify when you're looking at a man that may be 25 and 30 years old, and he's showing up with that delayed reaction, because you never allow the opportunity to feel, to breathe, to connect, to be seen, to be present. It's a scary thing to even be loved when you're not used to love. So you'll witness and you'll see a delay, because that's the little boy in front of you. So you may see a man and he may be a doctor, a lawyer, and he may be great in business. But when that little boy shows up, you will see him. And that unhealed trauma, it can truly impact romantic relationships, parenting, friendships.
I would say relationships is nothing more than human behavior. So if I don't love myself, if I don't have the ability to show up for myself, if I don't have the ability to connect with myself, then I'm going to struggle to connect with other people on the outside of me. It's a quote that says, if you don't address your childhood trauma, your romantic relationship will. So understanding that a relationship is nothing more than human behavior, you're going to see the delay, that arrested development. I don't know how to love, especially if I have a fractured perspective of love. Some people love on a first grade level. Some people love on a college level. I was still A-B. I was still tracing. I was still kindergarten. I never had the opportunity to love. The first time I had the opportunity to practice love is when I became a father.
That's deep. Would you say that forgiveness plays any kind of role in this healing process?
Forgiveness for self or forgiveness for someone trying to love?
You tell me.
Both. I'll give you this perspective. Sometimes we don't date people, we date voids. So I grew up in a household where I wasn't loved, I wasn't cared for, I wasn't valued. So the first time I seen someone care and value me, I loved them with the emptiness and the pain and the joy and the connection that my mother never showed me. So sometimes we think people are into us and connecting to us, and sometimes people are looking for a safe space to land. So I'll give you this perspective. Think about you on an airplane and you see smoke and fire, and now you had a destination in mind, and the pilot can no longer land at that destination. Now we have to look for the first place and the first opportunity to land. So that may be a highway, that may be an open field. So we're meeting people sometime that's on fire. We're meeting people sometime that's burning up from their childhood, and they don't even know how to be their full self. They don't know how to reach their full potential. So the reason that forgiveness is important, because you may be hurt by someone that was trying to love you, but not because they hurt you intentionally. They were looking for a safe space to land because they've been burning their whole entire life from this pain that they wasn't able to address, that they wasn't able to connect to. So safety and forgiveness plays a major part, because you could be full of love, clarity, peace of mind, and I may want to land on you because I see you for what you are, but that don't mean that I'm prepared to love you fully. So compassion and empathy are like binoculars that allow you to see into someone's mental and emotional journey. So I hurt people, not because I wanted to hurt them, but because I was a lion that was born in the circus. And what I mean by that, I was showing up like my environment, but it was only conducive until you put me back in my natural habitat. So our natural habitat of love, our natural habitat of safety, to show up for one another fully and wholly. Sometimes we hurt one another because my environment was chaotic. And now you meet new people that's not used to your environment, how you respond and how you react. And I'm going to cause you pain just by the mere fact I'm trying to love you. So one thing, I had to find this voice, and I had to find this clarity to be able to love myself and forgive myself. Because sometimes you don't even want to allow yourself to be loved, fearing that you're going to hurt people. So the forgiveness on the outside plays a major part. Because if I don't have a safe space to land, then it's like, how do I practice love knowing that I may hurt people because I don't know how to love?
You've given us so much to think about today, Dash. Where can viewers purchase your ebook and connect with you online?
So Sessions with Dash, I have the ebook and the soft cover available. And I always say you can't hold on and jump at the same time. And I'm just literally in the air. I jumped in 2021, and I'm still learning and navigating what it means to be an influencer, what it means to tell your story, have people meet you on the level of your soul. So anyone following me, I'm trying to be consistent, trying to get out there, trying to connect to all the opportunities that's opening up. But sessionswithdash.com, Dash Hudson _ on Instagram, Dash Hudson on TikTok, Dash Hudson on Facebook.
All right, Dash Hudson, thank you for joining us today on The Breakdown.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, coming up next, after the break, we're shining a light on the fight against childhood sexual abuse and human trafficking. One Indianapolis organization is helping survivors heal while working to prevent more lives from being impacted. Stay with us. It's an important conversation. And if you like the work we do, Know that your support is critical. You can support us via Cash App using the Stripe code. We'll put that there in the bottom left-hand corner. You can also help us out with credit cards. Please use the same thing. PayPal's are Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle at Roland@Martin.com. Rolling at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And if you're old school, you can send checks and money orders payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196 in Washington, D.C. Please stay with us. There is so much more to come on The Breakdown. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Rhea Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory, attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
Hi, I'm Swing Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
Weekend, women from across central Indiana will gather for an afternoon focused on empowerment. The Boss Lady Tea is hosted by Pastor Tanya Hill, Executive Director of the Abundant Life Institute. The organization works to support survivors of childhood sexual abuse. Joining us now is Pastor Hill, founder of Abundant Life Institute, and again, host of the Boss Lady Tea. Thank you so much for joining us today. Check to see if you could potentially be on mute because I can't hear you and I don't know if my crew can. So check your settings and see if you can unmute yourself. And it's okay. Let's try it again. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go to a quick break, and then we'll get her audio worked out, and then we'll see her back in just a moment because we have to talk about her event, her Boss Lady Tea that's happening tomorrow in Indianapolis. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're watching The Breakdown.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat. So they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
All right, Dash. So tell us what inspired you to write this book.
So when a little boy is healed,
They've been trying to erase black political power since Reconstruction. Now the Supreme Court is helping them finish the job. First came Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, the ruling that gutted the Voting Rights Act. Then came Brnovich in 2021, another ruling, another piece torn away. Now comes Calais, the case civil rights leaders warned could cripple the last major federal protection against racial vote dilution, and within days, Tennessee eliminated its only majority black congressional district. Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama. The same strategy is spreading across the South. The old Jim Crow used poll taxes and literacy tests. The new Jim Crow uses gerrymandered maps, voter roll purges, polling place closures, and court rulings that make black communities politically invisible. 1965 was Freedom Summer. This is Freedom Summer 2.0, because they are still trying to erase black political power, and we will not bow.
A decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads, let's go. We show up not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together, we organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
A real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory. Attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Rhea Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
Folks, let me be real with y'all. If you are on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no stranger to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they are the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing, what actually works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that as well. No games, just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes with a real person, completely free. So give Chapter a call, 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for your patience. For the culture, we're halfway through the year, making this the perfect time to take a fresh look at your career goals. Joining us now is career and workforce expert Brittany and Cole, CEO and founder of Career Thrivers. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to be with you.
Absolutely. Wonderful to have you as well. Listen, Brittany, tell us a little bit more about Career Thrivers.
Sure. So yes, we are a workforce and organizational development firm working on talent and leadership infrastructure for the AI era of work. And when we say talent infrastructure, leadership infrastructure, really what we mean are four things: pace, platform, people, and power. And so do organizations, or even as you're thinking about yourself, how are you preparing for what is coming from a workforce and labor perspective as AI is changing not only the way we live, but what work means in the future?
And then why is the middle of the year such an important time for professionals to evaluate where they are in their careers?
Yeah. And so we think of this as like a mid-year reset, an opportunity for you to, assess the previous 6 months before you get into the next 6 months. So it's the perfect time for you to take that kind of critical eye. And if we're thinking about, okay, reset, that sounds great. It's the middle of the year. That makes sense to me in terms of a calendar standpoint. Some things to consider. One, many organizations are looking at their performance management. And so they're making decisions about who is next up for merit increases, promotions, things of that nature. And so your leaders are having these conversations traditionally around towards mid-end of Q3. And so this is the perfect time to be proactive, to ensure it's what Carla Harris calls, if you haven't, I always like to recommend her TED Talk if you haven't listened to it. She talks about what a sponsor is, someone that takes your paper into the room. They essentially advocate on your behalf. And 9 times out of 10, that is your direct supervisor, whether you like them or not, whether they're mediocre or amazing. They need to know what that next step, what that next plan is for you. In the case that you don't have the best relationship with them, that means that you need to be doing your due diligence to ensure that that skip level person, that your leader's leader or your leader's leader's leader, it knows who you are, knows the impact that you create, and knows how you want to move through the organization, and that you're intentional about that.
That's good information. When leaders are deciding who gets promoted, what qualities do you think they're looking for beyond job performance?
Yeah. And so right now in this AI era of work, some of the skill sets that are most important are actually the skills that Black professionals have in abundance. And so if we take a step back and we think about what AI is doing, AI is commoditizing intelligence. So Econ 101, when something becomes a commodity, the price decreases and competition increases. That is what's happening with intelligence. And so while our current traditional labor system is built on this idea that an increase in intelligence is in alignment with an increase in value, that's why we go get more credentials, we go back to school, we go get the degrees. Sure, you wanted to learn that skill set, but really it was about being able to advance from a workforce perspective. That there's a crack in that foundation because of AI, because intelligence is a dime a dozen. Everyone has access to a system and a tool. And from an enterprise perspective, they have even more access to knowledge and information to drive the business, to serve the client and the customer. So the value proposition for people is much more centered on our human skills. And Black professionals, we have things like being able to lead through adversity, being able to communicate in a clear, concise, and compelling way to build trust in environments that aren't designed for us. We have a competitive advantage there. Being able to problem solve in real time, being able to deliver results under pressure, being very change agile, being able to step into really stormy situations and be the calm in the storm. Like, that is who we are as a people. And so we bring a certain competitive advantage to a traditional workforce that sometimes we lean out of. And this is the time to lean into what many would call soft skills. At Career Thrivers, we call those power skills, the top of the list of which is your ability to communicate, particularly to build trust within a workforce environment. Number one, most important skill, the ability to storytell, the ability to communicate in a clear, concise, and compelling way. Those are the types of skills that create a true competitive advantage in today's workforce.
And talk a little bit more about those relationships that we should be building and how they can be beneficial to us.
Yeah, relationship capital is the capital that we need to really hone in on from a workforce perspective. And it's one of the resets that you can be thinking about. When we think about relationship capital, it's not what you know, it's not even who you know, but it's who knows you. And so when we say who knows you, who knows what your aspirations are, where you're trying to go. At Career Thrivers, we call that leadership branding. We'd love to share with your audience a free resource where you can go and get a score. If you go to scoremyleadershipbrand.com, you can take a free 3-minute assessment to tell you where you are as it relates to your visibility and your impact. That is what helps you to become a magnet for the types of relationships that will help you to advance your career. So you need to be proactive. To the introverts in the room, hello, I'm the captain of the introverts, right? You got to get comfortable sharing about your wins, sharing about what you do. But that leadership branding makes you a magnet, so you're able to attract people to you because you are well positioned. Most Black professionals are overqualified and underpositioned. We need to double down on our leadership brand to position ourselves for opportunities in the future.
What are some of the bigger mistakes that you see professionals making during this mid-year performance conversation?
Yeah, one is waiting to be tapped, waiting for the opportunity to come to you, waiting for permission, waiting for the leader to say, hey, have you thought about this next? It is your career. Get into the driver's seat of your career. Second mistake that I see is, again, this idea that I'm just going to work hard. that my performance is going to get me to the next level. Performance is table stake. Remember PIE, P-I-E, stands for performance, image, and exposure. Performance is only 10% of career advancement. Doesn't mean it doesn't matter. It means it's table stakes. It's entry into the game. Image and exposure is 90%, with exposure being 60% of career advancement. So again, not what you know, not even who you know, is who knows you. Are you exposed to the right people? Do they know enough about you to help you advance? And that exposure requires you to be visible, right? It requires you to understand that humility is not about not speaking about what I do. Humility is about recognizing other people were involved in that, and then being able to leverage those, again, relationships to help you get to the next level. Visibility is stewardship. And so you want to be a good steward of your gifts, your skill sets, your credibility, your intelligence. You have to be visible. People have to see you. When they see you, they trust you. When they see you, they know you. The more they know you, they trust you. And the more that they trust you, you start to get the tap on the shoulder, not just looking for jobs, but being sought after for next level opportunities.
How can we communicate that we are ready for a leadership position?
Yeah, I think one thing that I would encourage every professional to be doing, we are in the age where resumes are dying. The portfolio career is here. So you need to start building your portfolio. There's data that says by 2027, which is next year, the US workforce is projected to reach over 50% of freelancers. 50% of the workforce will be freelancers. And so when you think of that, you're like, wow, like in a few months, yes, because and if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Human capital is the most expensive, is the highest expense on any organization's P&L, whether you had 2 people or you got 2,000, right? And so if you have a resource like AI that's able to not just make you more productive, but is able to execute for you, then you're looking at how much human capital you need. And in many instances, what many of our Fortune 500 clients are looking at is how much fractional work, right? Maybe I don't need 20, 40 hour per week folks on the team, but maybe I can hire some folks to come in for 10 hours per week. And it costs an organization less to pay a contractor 6 figures than it does to pay an employee 6 figures, taxes, benefits, et cetera. So what that says to us then is you've got to be positioning yourself, building a portfolio career to speak to the impact, the results, and the value that you bring to the work that you get to do. And you are the owner of that portfolio. So you've got to start thinking like an entrepreneur. You've got to be more intrapreneurial in the work that you get to do, and not just have the receipts in a folder, but get comfortable sharing the receipts through storytelling, through relationship building. So people are very clear on not only your expertise, but the experience that you have and how you can help to be an asset to what they're building.
Before I let you go, Brittany, you have a book?
Yes, it's called Thrive Through It. It's about redefining resilience. I wrote it with Black professionals in mind. It talks about career grief, which is something that we don't often associate with grief, but it is very, very real. And we're seeing that in today's workforce. 1.2 million Americans were laid off in 2025. Over 500,000 of those were Black professionals, not only women, but men as well. And so the book talks about identity grief, helping you really think through how do you take the next best step for you in light of disruption, because disruption brings 2020 vision. It brings 2020 clarity. It hurts, it's painful, but it helps to crystallize your purpose. It helps to crystallize your experience and what you actually want, not just what you decided to do because someone said you should do that. And it helps you to move with intention and impact, and Thrive Through It will help you do that. And so definitely check it out wherever books are sold. And then make sure you go to scoremyleadershipbrand.com to get that assessment. That is the number one thing that I can leave with you to do so that you can close the gap between your impact, your results, and your income.
Oh, Brittany, thank you so much for that information. And then are you on social media? How can we stay in contact?
Sure. Yeah. When you go to scoremyleadershipbrand.com, you'll get access to my LinkedIn. I'm over there at Brittany N. Cole. It'll direct you as well to my Instagram and TikTok at Brittany N. Cole. Would love to connect with you.
All right, Brittany, great information today. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Breakdown. And we hope that you'll join us again soon.
I would love to. Thank you, Brittany, for having me.
Absolutely. All right, folks, stay with us. We still have more on the other side of this break. You're watching The Breakdown.
Hey y'all. Welcome to the Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Rhea Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to the Other Side of Change.
Testing. What'd you say? Okay, I see the green dot.
All right, we can hear Pastor Tanya Hill now. She is hosting the Boss Lady Tea this weekend in Indianapolis. Welcome to the breakdown.
Welcome. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for your patience. Glad to get you on the air. So you're the executive director of the Abundant Life Institute. Can you tell us a little bit more about the work that your organization does?
Yes, I would love to. So our mission is to create a world where not one more person is abused, not one more. We used to focus exclusively on children, but now we understand that the problem is way more. But we focus on children, but we want to make sure that nobody is abused. We believe this is certainly something that is preventable. We work to educate and elevate awareness, to empower people, give people the skills, equip them to prevent this thing, connect people to resources, activate, and make a great impact. That's what we're all about. The Not One More movement.
You know, one thing that you guys provide information on is trafficking. Can you tell us more about what you're seeing?
Yes, here in Indiana, as all over the country, right? We are seeing more and more children missing. You go to your social media every day, there's a new child who's missing. These are not just all kids they don't just fall off the face of the earth. Many of them are victims of trafficking, and that is a terrifying thing. And many of them are being groomed online, lured out of their homes, and into great danger because they don't know what grooming looks like, because they're not aware of online safety, because nobody has taught them these things. We are still in this society stuck on teaching children stranger danger. They need to know stranger danger, but typically abusers and traffickers are not strangers. They're people that these children know. They are people that are in their communities, people that their family knows, and even sometimes their family members. And so when we are able to elevate awareness and equip people with the proper skills, we can make a true impact.
For someone who may be watching today, carrying the weight of childhood abuse in silence, what do you want them to know?
I want them to know that their voice matters, that they need to keep telling their story, that we hear you, that we believe you, that it's not your fault, no matter what the predator has told you, and we're here to support you along your journey.
Tell us a little bit more about the event that you're hosting tomorrow, the Boss Lady Tea.
Yes, it's Sunday, June 28th at 2:30. It's the Boss Lady Tea. This is one of our signature events. We are super excited about this. We are celebrating women. We call this our Boss Lady Impact Award. We have women who are faith leaders who are coming from some of our churches who have been nominated. We have women who are making great strides in the community-based arena as it relates to youth empowerment. And we have ladies who come to us through business and influence who are making a great impact, helping people become resilient, because the best way to heal is to take care of yourself and have the resources that you need to live a good life. And so we are so happy about that. This is an elegant tea. The ladies will dress up. They'll come in their hats and bring their teacups, and we'll have a great, great time. This will be a parade of boss ladies. We'll have live music. We'll have a display of beautiful food. We will connect. We have what we call a pour and sip ceremony that is a way to connect to one another and just bring people into the movement, the Not One More movement. It will be an opportunity for them to share, for everybody to share. You can join this mission by sharing your talents, by sharing your time, and sharing your blessings. So we are looking for people to come and pour a blessing. This is a great cause. It celebrates women and it supports the mission that we are, our work.
And we just pulled up a bit of the registration, so we can register online?
Yes, through the Eventbrite. It is Boss Lady Tea 2026.
On Eventbrite. And how can events like this strengthen women and businesses and community here in Indianapolis?
Oh, it is a time where women can come together, connect, refresh, be healed, see and hear one another, understand that no, we're not alone. We are better together, and together we could do this.
What are some of those maybe red flags that parents and teachers, church leaders, community members should be paying attention to?
Some of the red flags, this is when your child begins to isolate. They may begin spending a lot of one-on-one time with another person that may be older than them, in a position of authority over them. They may leave home unexplained. They may be too in tune to their social media. If these are part of the grooming processes, the groomers want to isolate. They want to gain access. They want alone time with the child, one-on-one, so that they can present themselves as somebody who can meet their needs, somebody who cares about them, somebody who understands them more than anybody else in the world. They begin to make the child feel like it's only I understand you. Your parents don't understand you. Your siblings, your family members, nobody understands you but me. Only trust me. Come be with me. And then they start to engage them in usually unethical behavior. And they gain something over the child's head. So when they make their move, they have put themselves in a position to say, well, if you tell, then I'm going to tell this. You know, they may introduce the child to drugs, attempt to get them addicted, those sorts of things, and just remove them from their family. So when you start seeing those type of behaviors as a parent, then you need to investigate. And before even doing that, as a preventive measure, you should monitor your child's online activity. You should monitor who your child is around. If you are a parent who takes your children to daycare, for instance, you should make sure that that daycare facility understands what it means to protect children. Have some simple rules like no, you can't, your child cannot be behind closed doors with anyone else. They must stay in the open. The child should know that. The teacher should know that. The administrator should know that. The volunteer should know that. You should structure the environment so everybody is out in the open and that there's not isolation. They should understand what appropriate touch is. They should understand that there should not be secrets. If somebody is asking you to keep secrets, or this is a secret between you and I, these are red flags, and these are things that we could teach that help prevent sex abuse. We can educate the world on human rights and proper conduct, respect for one another. These are things that are societal and worldwide that we have to address because there's a lack of respect for humankind, actually.
Pastor Hill, this is such good information. Can you tell us how we can stay connected to you?
Yes, certainly. So you can follow us on our social media. We have a Facebook page, it's Abundant Life Institute. You can also follow on my personal Facebook page, it's Tanya Hill. We're on Instagram also at Abundant Life Institute. We could share our share the email address.
Yes, go ahead.
So those are ways that they can stay in contact with us.
Okay. Well, Pastor Hill, thank you so much for your time today. And we're so thrilled to have you here on The Breakdown.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Everybody, the Not One More movement, not one more. Be part of the movement. God bless you all.
And bless you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Absolutely. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Black Star Network for The Breakdown. We'll be back again on Monday with more news that matters to our community. Please find me on social media. I am The Noble Journalist, and I will see you again on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Black Star Network. Have a great day.